Barry Ferguson has responded to Brendan Rodgers after the crazy weekend that was. It's almost like Rangers didn't even get beat after what happened on Sunday, because there's literally like no news coming out about Rangers. Like, yeah, there's a bit about the potential red card for Casey and a few other decisions that went against Rangers in the game, but for the most part, it seems to be heavily focused on Celtic. I guess Celtic did bottle the chance to go top of the league. You can spin it whatever way you want. Oh, they get shafted, they get cheated, corruption, no. No, they bottled it. Celtic Football Club bottled it. And Barry Ferguson has called out Brendan Rodgers because he said Brendan Rodgers is focusing too much on the decisions Celtic didn't get, and what about the ones they did get? And you know what? You kind of got to agree with him. But he was talking on Go Radio, and he was talking about the penalty. And he said, well, there was a few penalties, but he's talking about the big, bad penalty. He says, never a penalty. It's just not a penalty in my opinion. He's played for it. I don't think there's much connection, and for me, it's not a penalty. I think it's very soft. Brendan Rodgers going with John Beaton and far. He doesn't mention anything about the Celtic penalty. So Barry Ferguson is sitting there saying the Celtic penalty ain't a penalty, and why is Brendan Rodgers not calling it out? Yeah, like Brendan Rodgers, it's embarrassing, right? Like the only thing, but because Adam Adea missed it, it had like no significance, but it could have. But then you say that, if that penalty's not given, then the incident with Yang never happens, because it immediately happened pretty much straight after. So just shows you how fun football is, how we offence like Adam Adea missing a penalty got Yang sent off, and that's probably, I had a massive deal in where the 3 points were going to end up. But he's defending John Beaton here, Barry Ferguson. He says, but at the end of the day, John Beaton there is to alert when there's contact. Whether it's Celtic's penalty, the high boot from Yang, or the handball from Iwata, then Don Robertson has got to go over to the monitor and make the final decision. It's Don Robertson that makes the final decision on the red card and the penalties. He referees the game. He's got to go to the monitor and make the final decision. So it's on Don Robertson as well. He can go to the monitor and say, there's no way that's a penalty. I'm not giving it. End of quote. Exactly. Right? We've seen it before. Now, it doesn't happen very often where the actual referee sticks with their on-field decision. We've seen it against Rangers at Ibrox with Aberdeen, where Dujon Stalling gets sent off, he gets sent to the monitor. He didn't overturn it. They don't have to stick with. They don't have to change their mind because of VAR. The most time of the day, yeah, of course they do, right? But end of the day, I think too much emphasis is being put on Brother John here, and I call him Brother John because I want to call him Brother John. He's been made out as a scapegoat. At least you've actually seen impartialness for pundits galore saying they got pretty much everything wrong in the game, right? Like both Hearts and Celtic decisions. But Brendan Rodgers, he would have a bit more, not respect for me, but I could at least admire his condemnation of the game if he came out and actually said, you know what, we probably shouldn't have had a penalty either. There's other people on YouTube and pundits that, of course, support Celtic that have come out and said that Celtic shouldn't have had a penalty either. And at least that's fair enough, but Rodgers completely glossed over that. As he glossed over it from a sense of, well, Adam Adea missed it and it didn't matter, but no, it could have very easily have mattered. Brendan Rodgers, man, he's digging himself a hole here. He absolutely is. And for Barry Ferguson, I'm going to agree. He has to come out and he has to call it out. He has to talk about all the decisions. You can't turn around and just say it. You can't just speak about the decisions that went against your team. Even though, right, Yang's for me is a red. Because in this day and age, they tend to be given. But the problem is, 9 times out of 10 they're given. We've seen last week, Motherwell player against Celtic, was it Theo Bear? He didn't get sent off. That's the problem. You need consistency, alright? Obviously that's not getting blown up as much because Celtic won the game, but just like Adam Adea missing the penalty, just because it didn't affect the game doesn't mean it doesn't mean it was the right decision, or you can't talk about it. You've got to talk about it, you've got to call it out, and I think that's what we've got to do. Because at the end of the day, Theo Bear didn't get sent off, right? But Celtic were a couple of minutes away from drawing at Fir Park. And obviously, if Motherwell went down to 10 men, Celtic probably would have had the game wrapped up a wee bit more in advance. They didn't. And it just shows you that's how decisions can affect games, guys. But do you agree with Barry Ferguson here about calling out Brendan Rodgers? We'll have to wait and see. The SFA, I'm sure, are waiting to respond to Brendan after his post-match comments. Things could get quite tasty. But like, comment, subscribe, and Fog Entertainment will be whipping out tasty fids just like Gordon Ramsay very, very soon.